computer. All right, Dad.
So I think that every meeting that I have and every meeting that you have with a customer, you must have a purpose.
All right. Oh, I should probably add, thank you all for joining us this morning. I know it's early this morning. Go ahead.
The purpose of this half-hour conversation is really to provide you with additional information which may be helpful in growing your Christmas business for Notes and Queries. And maybe the best way to start is that before you actually do a presentation, that the presentation actually starts with doing the research that's necessary to meet with your customer. And what does that mean in real terms? It means that you look at what your customer bought last year. You look at your year-to-date sales. That is, are you ahead, behind? Where are you against sales for that customer over the previous year? You look at the returns that you might have had for seasonal, specifically Christmas and the holidays. You look at the product that your customer bought for the holidays. Did they buy more counter? Did they buy more boxed? Did they buy any wrap? Did they buy any bags? Did they buy any three-dimensional stuff? Is there a possibility, for example, in terms of looking at other categories that Notes and Queries is carrying this year that they didn't have last year? For example, we've been very successful in terms of selling advent calendars and advent calendar cards. We do so because of the three-dimensional quality and because there are not a lot of companies out there selling advent calendars
that are not that are non-chocolate related.
Yeah, and in a sense cheesy. One of the things that when I think about where there are opportunities, the big question is, where do you start? And I always start a presentation for seasonal with a product that I know that they haven't bought in the past, or they can make a bigger commitment in this current meeting. For example, I know they've got to buy box cards. I know they have to buy counter cards, but I might start my meeting with showing the large three-dimensional, in fact, all the advent calendar cards and advent calendars themselves. Because if you were to take this out, this image.
They don't have that sample.
You don't have this sample, but if you would take out
an
advent calendar, take out our new catalog, which is going out next week. 5 of these are going out to each and every one of you with our new everyday release, so that you'll have that essentially by the end of next week or early the following week. It will give you an opportunity to show product that A, adds up, so can add a lot to order value, but B, they might not have initially been interested in, but you're showing them something that's really very different that they can buy into. So for example, I would also show three-dimensional pop-up cards, be they from Paper Dart. And those of you who sold Paper Dart last year know that not only were you successful in terms of selling them in, but selling through the collection was in fact, we ran out of Paper Dart cards last year in terms of Christmas. The fact is that when you hand an open Paper Dart card or an open message all joy in a bottle card, there's something really spectacular about them. There's really something really special about it. I think the same thing would hold true with the art file boxed 5 in an acetate box. So you're really selling a Christmas gift. That's when someone would send it out to 5 of their special friends. What I'm finding is that our counter business has been increasing for the last 5 years, and it's usually on the higher end product, whether it's Paper Dart and now Art File and All Joy, I suspect will also follow.
I should probably add that of people, that 20% of the population who buy Christmas cards are millennials. Millennials are not afraid of price. And so and they are often the ones who are actually buying some of those 3D cards. So I wouldn't hedge or be concerned about price point, because I find actually that people are looking for more expensive cards to be able to fortify that kind of card department. And I think a lot of the cards that we offer, the 3D cards, actually have really strong added value. The other thing that I want to add to all that is that enthusiasm is contagious. Obviously, when you go into a Christmas appointment, you're going to sell Christmas. But I find, to set the tone, it's really exciting to be able to show something that is special, right? Because a lot of people sell Christmas cards. What is real, and what's really exciting to you? Because enthusiasm is contagious.
2 years ago, I made a presentation to Papyrus, and I asked Dominique Sherman the following question. I said, what's the biggest retail challenge you have? And she said that the biggest retail challenge they had, Papyrus as a company, was how do they distinguish themselves from the store next door around the block, 2 blocks away. And I think Christmas is an ideal opportunity to talk about how to distinguish yourself. What product will you carry that will distinguish yourself from the other stores in your area? Now, one of the challenges that you may have is that when you're doing presentation, they all want the same card, or they all want the same look. And our number one salesperson was a woman by the name of Bridget, who no longer works for us, who essentially is retired. And she was selling in an area in Northern California, Healdsburg to be precise, that had a retail square. And on the retail square, she sold 5 different stores. And in each of the stores that she sold notes and queries, she sold different product. So there are opportunities when you sell notes and queries in a dense retail area, is to look at the 500 plus Christmas items that we have and look at, well, what's going to work best for that customer. And in fact, in one area, she actually sold gift wrap in rolls, and she sold to another account gift wrap in sheets. And as you know now, we only sell gift wrap in sheets.
But in terms of, Dad's actually showing these cards and stuff, but one of the reasons why we're showing the cards is because this is a good example of something that's a unique product that's also very affordable. These had for an oversized 6x6 square card, it had a very high retail last year, and so we have those additional designs. The children's market is a very interesting one, because there are enough people who, when you look at advent calendars as well as these kind of jigsaw cards, you have parents and grandparents who want to have a low-cost item or a low-cost gift item that they could send to their kids. One thing, though, to kind of consider about the advent calendars is the time frame, because obviously past December 1st, there's no point. So I actually, when I do my Christmas appointments, I actually kind of put all the advent calendars and the calendars and the planners all in a separate order form, or have them shipped separately, because I'm concerned that if they don't have them out, then it's kind of come December 1st, certainly for the advent cards, you're a little screwed. The other thing that I found interestingly enough about the advent calendars, and just in general, is that there is a huge comeback in contemporary religious iconography. I saw it all over England when I was there. And so you actually probably see here, as an example, or there's bug art, more religious imagery, because somehow if people are going to buy a Christmas card, they want it to actually be Christmas. So that's one of the reasons why you see a little bit more within our selection, but that's also because that's what's now trending.
I also wanted to say that we've heard recently some people say that they're finding it difficult to get an appointment. And so I'd like to give you some ideas in terms of how to overcome the objections. One is really pretty straightforward, which is Notes and Queries has, and I'm sure that all of you are aware, has one of the best dating programs in the marketplace, that if your customer buys $500 worth of Christmas cards, you can add on as much everyday product and not pay for that product until December 1. That's number one. Number two is that in some cases with some publishers, for example, we run out of stock. So we ran out of, for example, paper dart. So we had an opportunity only for one buy-in in terms of paper dart last year. And you want to tell your customer, they can ship it mid-October. They could ship it November 1st. But they should place their order now so that the stuff that's allocated to us, we can get in a timely fashion. Another company that fell into that is BigArt. We used last year's BigArt collection because, in fact, they don't have their new Christmas out and won't have it out until the end of June. So when I'm going to England next month, I will see this year's Christmas that Notes and Queries will be bringing in next year.
We bring it up because the BigArt, which had a close to 90% sell-through on Christmas last year, and consistently it's the case, you need to get those orders in. Because once they're actually gone, because we actually pre-order this stuff, we take whatever inventory we can get, that's it. And it had a huge sell-through, and there's some people who only buy BigArt, and I'm sure all of you have been able to take advantage of the real success of BigArt over the last kind of few years. It continues to go up and up and up and up. So it's added incentive to get those orders in as soon as possible.
But in addition to that, the added incentive is to talk about putting everyday product onto. That's a significant advantage that Notes and Queries has over other publishers. I thought it might be helpful to highlight. So we talked about starting with Advent calendars or Advent calendar cards. We talked about three-dimensional cards in terms of starting the presentation. But, for example, the other thing that one might start out with is actually bags. And the reason for that is that usually the bag presentation is done at the end of the presentation. In fact, it's viewed as an add-on. The fact is that our bags are really quite substantial, very well designed, and the sell-through when they're placed is fairly significant. So the challenge for you is to say, I know we're going to do the box notes, we're going to do the counter cards, but I'd like to start with something a little bit different this morning. Let me show you some bags. Let me show you the 3D pop-ups.
And this pattern is already our #1 selling design so far. Yeah, I find it on a lot of orders. I think it's absolutely exquisite. And as I was sharing with someone this morning, my father's mother, when she's 94 now, but when she comes to visit, she brings her clothes. She carries them in one of the large gift bags from Carolyn Gardner. Now, honestly, just thinking about it, how cool, it's got to be good quality.
How cool is it for us to call my mom a bag lady?
Sorry, no. We're kind of
how cool is it for you to actually do that?
No, we're being a little flip. But honestly, they're a really good quality bag, so that when people also think about the green nature of our industry, the fact is that our gift bags actually last a long time and can be used for multiple times. And now, in regards to the bottle bags, which is the #1 selling size, people have been using it not just for, wine or alcohol, other alcohol. I mean, honestly, I've been drinking a lot, so I've been using our wine bags. But you can actually fit long taper candles in it and orchids. And so some of our specialty grocery stores have been using them up for multiple purposes.
While we're on the topic of bringing up other types of products initially rather than at the end, Notes and Queries for the first time started importing napkins.
It's not been the first time.
Well,
so it's been a long time. We used to actually sell napkins, and with the napkin industry and the everyday napkins, you need to be able to really sell a ton. But we decided, as a way to be a resource for a wide range of different products, we would test out napkins that were kind of classic images, and there isn't a huge buy-in, because if your paper products or your
if you're selling
international,
you're buying in at a minimum of $500 to $1,000, and with Notes and Queries, you can buy 12 cocktail And you could spend a couple of $100 versus $500 or $1,000, and meanwhile, you can now offer your customers some napkins. In addition to that, you could use some of these napkins to complement or supplement a napkin program that they already have. So Vanessa pointed out that when we sell product, one of the things that I find so interesting is the mushroom analogy. We sell at many different price points. And I use the supermarket analogy of selling mushrooms. And what that means is you can sell the white mushrooms for $1.79 a pound to shiitake organic at $15 a pound, or truffles at, I don't know, hundreds of dollars a pound in terms of that. And they're sold side by side. They're complementary. So one of the things that when someone actually says, I already use another company, let's say Papyrus or Design, they're for napkins. I actually say, well, I'm not asking you to make a $500 or $1,000 commitment, but there's some wonderful designs that I think could complement and supplement and assist you in terms of your holiday napkin program. You realize that cocktail napkins are sold 2 to 1 over luncheon. So you can expect when you take an order for cocktail that the number of designs and the actual amounts should be 2 times the amount of what you're purchasing in terms of your napkin program.
And just adding just an extension of that, you'll probably have noticed so many people have food as part of their, holiday assortment, both actually everyday or holiday assortment, some sort of homemade, organic, canned, something made in some place, locally, right? And so a lot of people try napkins and other types of home decor, paper plates and napkins and stuff as a way to be able to round out the sales of their food. And food sales are huge, even within these independent kind of stores. And I think many of our sales actually carry, a line of chocolates or a line of tea or that kind of thing. So that's one of the other reasons why.
I get the Yule Joy?
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why we decided to kind of expand into napkins. And so anytime someone says, well, I already do napkins, well, people already do cards, and they don't have a problem actually having us as being part of the assortment. The same holds true for the napkins, because these are good quality napkins.
I wanted to go through just a couple of collections because we don't have time to go through each and every one of the collections. We're trying to touch on main points. So this is All Joy. All Joy has cards which are on acetate and which are laser cut. And what I like about them are the designs. I think they're very holiday oriented.
Oh, I love those.
And they don't all have Christmas scenes on it from the point of view of having snow. The other thing that I wanted to point out to you is that more millennials are sending cards with pets on it. So we have several cards, for example, the Laura Darrington card, which has the dogs on it.
That's already one of the best sellers last month, actually, that card. And given that we've been so busy that if I'm entering in orders, that it's been busy. So millennials are more likely to have pets than they are children now. That's the kind of growing trend. And so there are at least, I think, 4 or 6 cards that are directed with cats and dogs to people who have only cats and dogs.
One of the things that I like personally is this very traditional collection from Kath Tate. The foiling on it is really quite lovely. I think the designs are really quite good on these. They're the more traditional customer for these. The best-selling package greeting card for Notes and Queries last year was Museums and Galleries.
And it's a square card.
And it's a square card. So the resistance, of course, is, well, there's additional postage, and of course that's a fact. Though 50% of all Christmas cards are hand-delivered. They're actually put inside of presents, which are mailed, or hand-delivered when you go visit your relative or friend. These cards have done extremely well in terms of sell-in and sell-through. It's important to express that they're number one, not because of the number of cards that we carry in the collection. It's because of the value that these cards offer your customer.
Yeah, I think they're 8 cards in for a $4 cost. I mean, holy shit! I think we underprice them every single time we launch them every year. Just thinking.
Then there's some natural cards, sorry, which Choir has, which is essentially this one is peace and love. Wishing you the happiest holiday seasons. The point is that when you talk about having cards that don't have Merry Christmas or Christmas iconography, we do have cards that fit that category. I also want to point out that when you're selling Christmas, you should consider taking out a sympathy deck and consider taking out a thank you card deck. And the reason for that is that during the holiday season, there are a lot of thank you cards which are being sent, either individual as well as packaged.
Thank you cards are actually sold as much, interestingly enough, as much as holiday cards during the holiday season. And it tends to be a category that a lot of people forget about because obviously you say you're selling Christmas. But I always have a selection. I always have my book with me to show the packs of thank you cards from either Art File or Carolyn Gardner. So I can be sure to add them to that order because that can add up actually quite nicely.
The other area is sympathy cards. And the fact is that from October through January, more people unfortunately pass away during that period of time than in other months of the year. And so your retailers should have an adequate supply of sympathy cards. And remember, if they have already made a financial commitment in terms of meeting Christmas dating, then you can put on the thank you cards. You can put on the sympathy cards. Another area that we've actually been growing over the last couple of years is the money wallets.
Those have been unexpected, actually. I mean, because I'm someone who actually
I never give Vanessa any, so I don't give her any money. And in fact, when I do, it's usually, 50 cents, and it can go in an envelope. But these checks really very well. And you could also put a nice $100 bill. By the way, if you want to send me a check, there is no C in Harnick, so it's Harnik. If you want to make a contribution to the Alan Harnick Foundation. This year, the foundation will be going to Florida just for a couple of days. But
actually, because we look at, when we launch Christmas, we look at what is actually distinctive. Because people have Christmas cards. What is going to grab people's attention? What is actually selling? What are the trends in the marketplace that we can actually capitalize on? And the money wallets, when we looked at the sell-through, because we're constantly, we have piles of stuff that don't work, like every other company. The money wallets had an extraordinarily high sell-through, much greater than in kind of prior years. And I think it's because people are trending to have gift cards, God help us, but that people want to be able to offer a kind of a gift card so they're not somehow offending someone. And then people can choose. And so the money wallets actually did really, really well. And it is something that one can obviously kind of forgets, I think, when you're actually doing the presentation. You noticed the Madam Chuckle. Were you going to show those cards in the art file? Right here. Then.
Oh, sorry. One of the things that I particularly like when I put together collections are things that strike nostalgia. And Madam Treckle is one of those companies that we continue to grow our business.
Actually, honestly, I'm not sure I'm going to card up here, but if you don't sell the MTHB 102, which is the everyday card, which is a celestial image, up for a Louis Award, we sell that like crazy, absolutely like crazy. And so, and the collection has had a really strong sell-through to it, and I think their new ones with the flitter are absolutely beautiful. I think that one's weird. I will honestly say that my father and I argued about this one. I think it's disturbing. It reminds me it's a funeral Christmas card. From my point of view, we argued over it, and I lost. So I'm not sure I would have picked that one. But this one, however, gorgeous. We have some opinions on the subject.
We have opinions on every subject, so not to worry about that.
Actually, and picking up on the celestial stuff, you will notice we showed you this bag. And we are actually going to be launching in this next sample release, a whole stationery collection related to this pattern. I don't know whether it had to do with the eclipse that was what was it, about a year or two ago. I'm not sure what it is, but anything celestial is trending up. And so we thought this was actually perfect for not only New Year's or Christmas, but also within the everyday collection. And of course, really good quality, beautifully kind of rimmed. I mean, got to pay attention to detail, right? With a little, die cut kind of hang tag. That's actually, there's a lot of schlock out there. There's a lot of really tacky stuff. And I think when you look at the holiday collection and you actually play with the samples, I find that there's some really, I don't like everything that we sell, but I think there's a lot of really special stuff. I mean, honestly, think about it. Isn't this one of the most amazing cards you've ever seen? We actually saw someone yesterday who we're interviewing to help us with marketing. And he said he had one of the paper dart cards on in his office, and every single person who passes by responds to this. And if I received a card in the mail like this, I mean, honestly, that's like, gosh, I know that person really loved me. Hint, 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 hint. Just kidding.
I think lastly, because our half hour is up, and again, to time frames, Vanessa and myself and Susan and Stephen are here to support you in your efforts, because on a daily basis, you go out and present our product. I have been pleasantly surprised by the number of Christmas orders that are $1,000 or more.
Actually, I mentioned this to a sales rep who I spoke to today, he's in Indiana, all right? So this is a territory that's not great for us. It's a pretty traditional area. It is a bookstore. We do a lot of business with bookstores. He wrote a $3,500 Christmas order. $3,500, and there's no everyday product on it. I thought, are you freaking kidding me? I said, honestly, can I get, I don't know. I was in awe. And I said, I'm going to tell you, if this small bookstore in Indiana can write a $3,500 Christmas order, I have high hopes for territories that are perhaps a little larger than his. Just no pressure, by the way.
Having said that, if someone taking out our line and showing it wants to spend $100 on the collection, you should probably end the sale and probably go on to another company that you're selling for.
You don't usually hear us say you don't want to take business.
And it's not as though I want to reject or throw away business, but the wasting your time and the sell-through, if they choose designs of greeting cards, it's not going to be great. And so why bother? And I'd much rather not have that person make that commitment this year, and maybe next year they'll feel better about it, because what's going to happen is they'll take in the 6 designs, $125 to $175. It won't sell as well as they'd like. And then when you go back to show the everyday collection, they say, well, Notes and Queries didn't sell. Well, the fact is, Notes and Queries would sell. The fact is, Notes and Queries has been around for 39 years. The fact is, last year we increased both revenue and profit as a company. The fact is that when you look at Notes and Queries as a company, how many companies provide you with over 350 new holiday cards? How many companies provide you with over 1,300 to 1,500 new everyday SKUs? We have a release that's going out either on Friday, more likely on Monday and Tuesday of next week.
Oh, and I did mention the Christmas catalog, although you should all have a copy of the digital version. But that'll be in the next everyday release that you'll be getting next week.
How many companies that you sell for essentially are producing 1,500 new products which are launched 4 times a year? I think that we are the exception rather than the rule. I continue. I know that you want to send me a birthday card. It's October 21. I turned 73. I enjoy what I do. I really enjoy the cards that we sell. I think we do something special, and I think Notes and Queries as a company is something special. We rely on you, and we rely on what you do for us to essentially to build our business. Without you, we cease to exist as a company.
No pressure.
I make the argument that I have only 100 customers. My 100 customers are my sales force, and we have to provide you with what you need. We have to send out the cards in a timely fashion.
We are going forward, because we're in the midst of actually hiring some marketing people. You will actually get some additional tools on a monthly basis so that you'll be able to email and do some e-marketing as well as marketing, because we recognize that that's part and parcel of what it takes to be a sales rep these days. And
in addition to that, what we're hoping to do is provide your customers with essentially a notes and queries, essentially kind of a digital page which they can send to their customers to drive business into their stores. We believe that...
Oh, sorry. What we mean is kind of a link.
Yes.
So that for some customers, you might have some customers who don't want to make the commitment initially, God help them, but we could potentially actually link their website with ours. So then they provide an opportunity to be able to even sell more stuff that maybe they wouldn't have on a store level if they've got a website. And so that might be an option.
Okay. And for me, to wrap it up, if there's anything that Vanessa, Stephen, Susan, and I can do to help grow our business this year, we're here to support you. Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to share with you our Christmas collection. And our next website presentation, as it were, will be in June, and that will be to review the new everyday collection that you'll be getting at the end of next week or early the following.
Which is really freaking exciting. I should point out, actually, and I don't know whether you're aware, but in Christmas, because I understand for some of you that the greeted cards, having cards with inside text is very important. There are 70, I counted them this morning. There are 70 cards that are available that have inside text in them for Christmas. So if you need help actually selling those types of programs to people, I write all the custom orders for key accounts, and so I'm happy to be able to work directly with you.
But not one of those cards say Merry Christmas, piss off. Really don't worry about it, even though some of you I know have customers in which you want to say something even stronger than that. We actually don't put that text.
I write all the inside text, so my father has vetoed it every time that we've considered printing that on the inside. Although I think that's actually really funny.
Maybe that will be a redback card. Thanks again, and I hope you have a really great week.
Thank you ever so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.